because it doesn't look at the soft tissues as well. This is a soft tissue window, and so this is showing the density of the bones, and this is the spine. This is the right shoulder, left shoulder. This is clavicle, and this is kind of your airway. And as we coming down, you see here's the ribs coming out, and then there's this black, and that's the lung. Okay, because it's filled with air. And this is your windpipe here that kind of comes down and then breaks into the two lungs. This is a window that doesn't look at the soft tissue very well, but does the lung. And you can see in the lung, you've got air with little tiny branches that are like the blood vessels, basically. They kind of get smaller and smaller as they go out to the periphery. And this is the one that was back in November. And so as you're coming down, this is the windpipe, this lung, these are the major vessels going up towards the neck. And then this is the lung with you can see little blood vessels. If I change it again, it's better on the lung, but not better on the... Now they put contrast in the blood vessels so you can tell the difference between what's the blood vessel and what the tumor is. And so this was back in November, and you had a tumor here. You can see that was on this is the aorta, kind of comes out of the heart and goes down like this. And then underneath it comes the artery that goes into the lung. And you can see this tumor, even in November, was squeezing down on this thing and kind of is along this whole side here.
Is that the aorta?
This is the pulmonary artery. The aorta is right up here, and it's next to it, but there's a little bit of a plane here. This is like right on it. It's inseparable. And then there was down here, you can see it here. You see this one. And so then on the repeat, so that's what we had before. Those were the two main. Did some little things in the lung, but these are all kind of peripheral. And then you have the most recent one that they got, looking at the PET. Okay, and what you can see, I think you can appreciate, we're going to just look at this. This doesn't have the contrast in it, but we got the activity, which we could show. So again, the same thing, right? Left arm, this is the bottom of the head and the mandible, spinal cord or spinal column, right? Left shoulder, and then the lungs, right? And it's been coming down. So you can see this thing has significantly increased.
Oh my God.
Probably that hoarseness is from a kind of a nerve called the vagus, which comes down here and then goes back up. And it's probably getting knocked out by this thing,
okay?
Now you can see here, this is the part that's of concern, is that right here on the artery, it's really squeezing it in more, and it's intimately involved and quite large. And then this has gotten bigger. So the issue with this is to remove this, you wouldn't do it given all these other lesions unless you got control and it shrunk up a little bit. Right now it would require you going on cardiopulmonary bypass, taking out the whole left lung, reconstructing this artery, and then still not addressing all these things. And when you had that surgery, all the other things would progress.
So it's like one big one and a lot of little small ones?
Right.
Okay.
And so if this was causing significant, you could try to radiate it, but I think the thing that would be the best would be, even though maybe it doesn't respond very well, there may be some people where it responds, and that's what you need, because you have multiple lesions. There's probably other lesions that are too small to see, and so it doesn't do any good to go in and get one, especially one that would cause so much harm to you, split the chest, go on pump, take out the whole lung. Just taking out the whole lung while being anticoagulated is very, very high risk. So surgery is not an option at this point. We never say surgery is not an option, but what you need to do, we need to get some kind of drug, and that would be under Dr. Conley's guise, where we would get a response. And then if you got a response,
Our hope is chemo.
yeah,
So
Our
you
hope
need
is chemo.
then you could re-look at it.
so you
And
need
I
the
think-
shrinkage before you can do
Yes,
any type of surgery.
Because it's not going to do any good.
Will it involve the
Yeah,
pulmonary?
it's borderline unresectable right now,
Okay.
and it would just put you through something that wouldn't help you at all, and then would just allow everything else to hasten. Wouldn't help. It would just hurt you. Now, the reason he was telling me that he's radiating the brain lesions is when he gives the chemo, he worries that could they bleed into the brain lesions. Okay, so it's more like prophylactic for the chemo to make it work.
Okay.
Because it's on. So, what
Can I ask a
questions?
question?
Yeah.
Okay. So